Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro at the Toronto Film Festival, and it's time to review The Boy and the Heron. This is the latest and maybe not last Miyazaki film that we thought was the last Miyazaki film, but apparently might not be. It's about a little grieving boy who is spirited away to a magical land where he can learn lessons. There's a heron who kind of like takes him along, and the heron's disgusting. Wonderfully disgusting. I like the blend of beautiful and disgusting creatures in this film, very much so. Definitely feels like a later stage Miyazaki film. We're coming off of The Wind Rises, which felt much more like an adult drama than similar to his earlier works, and this one I would say feels like right in the middle. Certainly its story is going for something a little more abstract, and it does feel less aimed at general audiences, but I absolutely found that it had the charm and wonder of those earlier works, as the world that he is whisked away to is gorgeous and magnificent. It gave me that Miyazaki childlike wonder. I was simply delighted at the images and at the creatures, the way that they move, the way that they sound. All the environments and characters that the boy encounters felt unexpected. The animation in this film is as good as it has ever been. Weirdly, I feel like the universe that this boy is whisked away to in this movie holds a little less logic than even other films.
I agree with that.
Sure, Spirited Away, not a lot makes logical sense, but something about it feels a little bit more like I understand what world this is anyway, even as it may delve into dream logic.
Yeah, or you understand how the world works and what the rules are.
Or at least why this world that is occurring to our main character is happening to our character, like on a deeper level, like why they're there.
Normally when you get introduced to a new world in a film, you learn the ropes, you learn how the world works, and perhaps you learn what the goal of being there ultimately will be and how this character's journey will take shape. And I feel like that wasn't really there. It was very meandering. It was kind of like you're floating on the lazy river and you're just looking at sights as they pass by. And I don't know exactly how to describe or surmise the world that he was in because it was so sort of grab bag. And I think the reason for that is that the film's trying to go for something deeper and wants to be more abstract, but also I don't really understand why it couldn't have done that all at once.
Well, we've seen Miyazaki do that all at once, haven't we? What is maybe not an entirely separate problem from what we're talking about is that I didn't understand like what the boy was learning on each step of this journey. It's very clear the things that he's internally dealing with. And, by the end, the movie presents a resolve. But I feel like the steps in between, getting him from point A to point B and, seeing his journey, the setbacks for him and, where he feels like he's succeeding and all this stuff just kind of felt like it was missing. I felt a little lost in this movie, honestly. It wasn't just because the world lacked logic. It was because I didn't know where I was supposed to be on this character's journey. This boy, his personality was a little blank. And, maybe he can be in every kid. He can just represent many boys and doesn't have to be very specific. That's fine, but
he's the default me. Not only does he look like the default me, he has the personality of one such.
Yeah,
character.
but he also is. He's like, oh, I'm kind of brave. Is most of his personality. Even his goal going into the world, the thing that he was looking for, didn't feel like it was actually that personal. To him.
He's nice and he has courage, and that seems to be the default Miyazaki personality, and that's how I felt about the character in The Wind Rises, where they are courageous and they're very nice. But at the same time, there's a lot more that it wants you to understand about his development and what is going into him as a blank slate. So perhaps people will take something away from that, but I ultimately land on your side here. I have a hard time coming up with just a sentence to describe how he changed or what he learned, but I can also see points when the film's trying to say that he learned something, but I didn't see it happen.
At the end, you might come away saying, oh, it's about acceptance because he accepted something, and that's not enough for me, I guess. The main character pulls this friends along the way thing, and I was like, I don't believe that you arrived there. Really, to me, this movie didn't come together until the end. I thought some of the self-examination Miyazaki was doing in these moments was really beautiful, and I finally felt like I got to a point where I understood the overall purpose of the movie. When I traced backwards, I still felt like I was lacking from this character, this boy, and his his journey, but I at least took away something from the movie.
I still really enjoyed this. The main reason is because the world was so fun. There's a lot of cute creatures in here. Sometimes it's a little bit frightening, and mostly it was a very joyful experience for me. The score was really nice. I don't know if it's among Joe Hisaishi's best, but it was an element of the film that I really enjoyed, and I also would like to call attention to the sound. It was very peaceful, it was nicely mixed, and a lot of the noises that the animals made and that the world made were not quite what you would think, and it added to that childlike wonder. For example, the beaks of the pelicans when they closed felt like when you go like put up a cup to your mouth. Those little touches in the sound worked really well for me. I would rate this an 8 out of 10.
As much as I enjoyed the animation and admired the world building and liked the score, I honestly spent most of this movie trying to grab at it and felt like I was slipping away. I would give it a 6 out of 10.
That's fair though, because
that's just like what
you're
my
being
feelings
true
in
to
the-
your experience. Hey,
True to my experience is all
that's
we can
fine.
ask for. I mean,
It's interesting how much we agree on the flaws, and yet we're different in terms of rating and overall impression.
fair note that a lot of people like this a lot and has very, very good critic reviews. Would not deter anybody from seeing the new Miyazaki movie.
No.
Would never dare. I think that there's a chance this gets nominated for score. People are really talking about it.
I love when what it incorporates with the little white creatures, the white bubble
the
soul
vocals
creatures.
were
Yeah,
really, really good.
there were some elements that I was really pleased with.
And it would be great to see him get a nomination for a Miyazaki movie. Even if
Yeah.
nothing else, like, it could happen. It'll definitely be nominated in animated feature. I don't know if I buy it beating Spider-Verse at the moment. That's also just based off of most people I talk to, even if they really like it, are a little bit underwhelmed. I think that's a lot of people. If this won People's Choice, would you predict it for Best Picture?
No, I think it's gonna rank though because more people have seen it than anything, and it's very well liked. But you know, I think that if it did win, it would be because there's a lack of competition, more so than other years.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
Do you have a heron pestering you out in your backyard?